Well, thank you, and thanks for joining us for something that has never been done before.
That's right. For the first time ever, we're turning over an entire presidential debate to you, essentially, the voters. Get ready for democracy in the age of YouTube.
It sure isn't your grandparents' debate.
The first question to Senator Kennedy from Mr. Fleming.
Or even the MTV generation's debate.
The world's dying to know, is it back to the briefs?
If you want to be president,
so help me God,
you better look out.
It's a brand new generation, the YouTube generation.
And they've got some video questions that'll make you think.
Would you allow us to be married to each other?
Make you squirm.
Has your husband, Bill Clinton, engaged in adulterous behavior since he's left office?
Make you laugh out loud.
Do you think you're better looking than Barack Obama?
A debate like never before.
Want to know what the voters really want? Just listen to their questions.
I'm the father of a young family.
And I'm worried about
restoring America's place in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and good luck.
Tonight on the CNN YouTube Debate Countdown. And it's 1 week and counting until the next presidential debate. The Democratic candidates will be in Charleston, South Carolina, but the questions are coming in from everywhere.
Yeah, for weeks now, people have been posting video questions on YouTube, the online video sharing website. You can actually still do it. Nothing like this has ever been done before, and frankly, a lot of these questions are really too good to miss. Now, not all of them will be on the actual debate, but many of them will, so check out a few.
Hi, I'm Nathan Roberts. I'm the father of a young family, and with the ill effects of global warming being felt throughout the earth, my question is, how are you going to save the earth?
For me. And me. And me. And me. Thank you.
My name is Lucas Brown-Eyes from Pine Ridge, South Dakota, and I just graduated with honors. I was accepted in my dream college, but I can't afford the $50,000 a year. We spend over $1 trillion on defense and interest on the national debt, but only $80 billion on education. The solution for the high-skilled labor shortage is to grant foreigners H-1B visas. I say let's skill America. From America, for America. How will you make college affordable?
We'll be talking with that young man just a little bit later on. Also tonight, Dan Rather, who has covered a few campaigns in his time, will ask him what makes a good debate question. But first, CNN's Anderson Cooper, who will be moderating next Monday's debate. He joins us from New Orleans tonight, and with us from San Francisco is Steve Grove. He is YouTube's head of news and politics. Anderson, we've all seen the town hall debate format where people get up and ask questions. How is this going to be different than that?
I think this is really the next generation of that. Often in those town hall formats, you know, people get up, they're nervous, it feels like they've rehearsed the questions an awful lot. In this, you're able to get in more questions, and there's more to just asking the question than the question itself. I mean, in a lot of these videos, some of them you've seen, but anyone can go on YouTube and look at them. Some of them are intensely personal. Some of them are sort of like 30-second film clips. It's really a whole new way of asking a question. It goes beyond just the question itself, and we're getting a real diversity both in the person asking the question, but also on the subjects of the questions themselves.
Yeah, and it's often said in politics, Anderson, that the last thing that a candidate wants to answer is a question from a real person about something that is actually close to that person. Steve Grove, what does opening up this process to everyone add to both the political process and to this idea of debates?
Well, I think it really breaks down some of the traditional barriers we've seen in American politics. You know, time was, if you wanted to engage in the primary debate process, you had to be in New Hampshire or be in Iowa. But with this debate, you can be anywhere in the country, in fact, anywhere in the world, and ask your questions straight to the candidates through YouTube.
Well, let's take a look at some of those questions. We've strung a few of them together. Now, again, these aren't necessarily questions that will appear in the debate, but they're a good sampling of what we're seeing out there.
America was definitely not prepared for Hurricane Katrina. So what will you do as president to prepare us for the next major disaster?
My job gave me this baby girl, but now with my new job and minimum wage, I can't even support her. What are you going to do to raise minimum wage so I can raise my baby girl?
As president, would you continue to support only abstinence education?
Or would you combine abstinence and safer-sex teaching?
Would you support full disclosure of all government information about UFOs?
Mrs. Clinton, my question to you is this.
What will you do to help change the mindset of today's young women so that in 20 years we don't have a nation full of Paris Hiltons?
Well, Anderson and Steve, is this process about as open as you can possibly get, or because there are still limitations of technology people have to be comfortable with, that they have to go on, that it's still limited to a certain audience?
Well, I think one of the things that we're seeing is people taking video cameras and taking it to their neighbors, taking it to people who may not have access to a computer. That's one thing YouTube has been doing a lot about, trying to get people to not just ask questions that they're interested in, but also maybe bring a video camera to somebody who's not able to get in front of a computer screen. So I think we're seeing a big diversity in the people asking the questions as well as the questions, the topics themselves.
Steve Grove?
Yeah, and I think what's really neat about it is it's allowing voters to really give some context and some personalization to a question. So, a question about Iraqi refugees might come from Amman, Jordan, from a refugee camp in Jordan, or a question about the minimum wage, like the one you just saw, comes from a woman who's trying to raise her child and have enough money to support it. So I think that really, the power of video there is to really give some context and make these questions much more compelling through video.
Anderson, are we as journalists risking putting ourselves out of business? Is the genie going to be out of the bottle here?
Hey, if it's very possible. I think certainly my role in moderating this debate is going to be to make sure that the candidates actually answer the questions and honor the people who've taken a lot of time to ask these questions. We also want to put out the word that the people who are watching right now can still submit questions all the way up through July 22nd, the day before the debate. So there's still a chance to get your question in the mix.
And they're coming in at about a rate of 200 a day. Anderson Cooper in New Orleans and Steve Grove in San Francisco. Thanks to both of you. Karen?
Yeah, and already 1,000 of them have been posted on YouTube, John. The #1 issue, education, followed by healthcare, energy and the environment, and then Iraq and immigration. And that's slightly different from a recent CNN opinion research poll, which asked what issues voters say are extremely important to their vote for president. That poll showing Iraq as the #1 issue, followed by terrorism, then education, healthcare, and gas prices. Joining us now, two members of the best political team on television, senior political analyst Bill Schneider, as well as senior political correspondent Candy Crowley. Great to see both of you. So the #1, at least one of the most popular of the questions posted, was about education. So let's listen to one of the best ones on that. All right, well, that was a very creative question about No Child Left Behind. Education, something that a lot of people posted on these YouTube sites, Bill.
Yes, it was. Parents are concerned about this, children, teachers all over the country. Public education is something that affects every constituency, every community, everywhere. And No Child Left Behind, a major new piece of legislation that a lot of people, particularly Democrats, think is not working very well. They have a lot of complaints about it. So you're going to hear, particularly from this audience, which tends to be younger and better educated.
And you say on the campaign, Candy, No Child Left Behind, it's sort of a buzzword.
It absolutely has become this buzz phrase, and the candidates have picked up on it. The teachers' unions are very big in the Democratic Party, so and they hate No Child Left Behind in large amount, and they look at it as testing, teaching to test. So the candidates know that No Child Left Behind has a couple of problems. One of them, it wasn't funded properly. So anytime you bring that up, that will definitely set these candidates off on Tuesday night.
So we'll see what they say about education. Also, #2, healthcare. That was a concern for a lot of the YouTube postings. Let's listen to one of the questions about healthcare.
Hi, my name is Kim. I'm 36 years old and hope to be a future breast cancer survivor from Long Island. My chances for survival aren't as good as they might be, however, because like millions of Americans, I've gone for years without health insurance that would have allowed me to take preventative medicine. What would you, as president, do to make low-cost or free preventative medicine available for everybody in this country?
And I think that's an example where you see just how touching these questions can be as opposed to being asked by a moderator.
Absolutely. And you see, again, this is something you see out on the trail, these personal stories, and to see it magnified on the screen obviously is very moving, and it's going to force these candidates to answer them in a way that they wouldn't have to answer when it's a moderator, when it's impersonal.
And what makes the healthcare debate unique in 2008, Bill?
Well, first of all, the cost of health care has gone up enormously. Premiums for families, healthcare premiums, have virtually doubled since 2000. A lot of people are worried about affordability, and they're worried about losing it. And they look at a woman like that and they say, you know what? That can happen to anyone. That can happen to me. And they identify very clearly with that question.
Yeah, that's very true. Environment, also something that's big. As we talked about, this is a younger demographic, and poll after poll has shown that younger people view environmental concerns and global warming as a major problem. So let's listen to this YouTube question from Barbara Gonzalez.
My name is Barbara Gonzalez McIntosh. I'd like you to meet my son, Asen, who was born on Earth Day this year. Nothing will have a greater impact on Asen's future and the future of all kids than the world's ability to deal with global warming. What are you proposing to do that is bold, and why should I put Asen's future in your hands?
And Bill, what do you think that some of these people are looking to hear from the different candidates about what their plan for getting us off of foreign oil dependence, something more along the lines of new rules when it comes to carbon dioxide emissions?
Well, they want to hear anything that the candidates can say that they can do, that we can do, that the voters can do to help stop this tide of global warming that Al Gore talked about in his film that seems to threaten humanity. And they want to know, what is it that government can really do to turn this around, or at least slow this terrible devastation that we could be facing? I think they want to hear that.
There again, I mean, I loved this because here's a woman holding her baby going, hello, the future, air, water. And I just think that it makes for a much more exciting dynamic for these candidates to have to face these people with real life home and hearth problems that they're going to be asked, well, what are you going to do about it? And I don't think that you can settle for generalities here when you're looking at a woman holding her baby saying it's important that we have clean air and clean water. You have to have specifics. You
know, one of the only things I did think about is what about follow-ups? I mean, oftentimes, you know, a moderator is there armed with some facts or perhaps some old quotations from the candidates they can come back at. I mean, is it going to be easier for candidates to dodge some of these questions, perhaps because they're getting a video and then they're not necessarily getting a response?
Well, there are going to be 8 candidates there on the stage, and I can assure you these candidates are not shy people, and they're competing with one another. So if a candidate answers the question and the answer, in the view of one of their competitors, one of their rivals, is wrong, or the rival disagrees, they're going to be very forthright in bringing up their disagreement.
Yeah, they're their own fact check system, I can assure you, although sometimes the fact checks need fact checks. But nonetheless, and you know, obviously Anderson will be there and can do follow-ups. I mean, it's very obvious to people when you're looking, when you hear a question and the candidate says something, it's obvious to them when they haven't answered the question, and nobody's going to let them get away with it, I don't think.
One of the interesting things that both of you brought up when we were speaking off camera beforehand is that just because people ask these questions, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not concerned with Iraq, they're not concerned with terrorism, but they want to bring some of these other issues that may not get talked about a lot into the forefront as well. So it should be very interesting.
I think so.
All right, we'll check in with both of you a little later, Candy Crowley as well as Bill Schneier. Thanks. John?
Kieran, so far we haven't said much about the 800-pound gorilla that's in the room for every presidential debate, but now it's time to focus exclusively on Iraq, like the man who asked this question.
Hi, my name is Shelby Highsmith in Atlanta, Georgia. This question is for all the candidates. I've heard all of you talk about withdrawing troops and getting us out of Iraq, but I still haven't heard an answer to the next question. Then what? Even if you do withdraw every single American soldier, what's your political solution to end the violence in Iraq so we don't have to send them back, or send our children back? I've heard your plan for getting us out, but I want to know, then what? Thanks.
You see, when it comes to Iraq, there is a surprising assumption. A lot of the questions that we received, did you notice it just then? Is the public ahead of the politicians when it comes to getting out? Stay with us on that. Also ahead, the wildest, wackiest questions that we've seen so far. And if you want to top these or just post a regular question, stay tuned. Even if you have never YouTubed, we'll show you how.
Have a great retirement, Tom.
Thank you.
I believe this is yours. We really need to talk now that you're retired. Ignore me, but you need to protect some of your assets. An AXA Equitable Annuity could help turn your 401k into guaranteed income for life. I'd call them. But what do I know? I'm just the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Want guaranteed income for life? Call your financial advisor and ask for an annuity from AXA Equitable.
Okay, good talk.
We've been to Portland, Monterey, Fresno on the way.
Panda's monkeys at the zoo taking home a kangaroo. Comfort Inn feels like home. Morning, Lisa. Morning, Joan.
Tasty waffles. Hey, look, finally something I can cook. County Fair, Salt Lake, gotta love those funnel cakes.
Santa Fe, Grandma's place. Nice to see her smiling face.
This summer at Comfort Inn, Comfort Suites, Quality Inn, Sleep Inn, or Clarion Hotels, stay 3 separate times and earn a free $50 gas card. Just make your reservations through choicehotels.com or 800-4CHOICE. Choice Hotels. We'll see you there.
Hello? This is Scott from Brinks Home Security. Are you all right?
Someone tried to break in the front door.
I'm sending help right now.
Call 1-800-796-7021 now and get a Brinks Home Security System installed for just $99. And when you call now, you can also get a second keypad installed free. Plus, you could save up to 20% on your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-796-7021 for Brinks Home Security. Rapid response, peace of mind. Call now.
2 Border Patrol agents face 10 years in prison. Lou Dobbs demanded action. Now Congress wants answers. Are federal laws the heart of border betrayal? CNN tomorrow night, 6 Eastern.
I couldn't believe how much I was paying for health insurance before, but Mega specializes in affordable health insurance for families and for people like me who don't get health insurance where we work.
Stop struggling to figure out how you can get affordable health insurance. If you're one of 45 million Americans without it, call the number on your screen right now to get affordable health insurance with the Mega Life and Health Insurance Company.
I was struggling to find affordable health insurance for my family. What appealed to me about Mega is that I could tailor a plan that fit our needs, as well as our budget.
I'm responsible for providing health insurance for my family. I work hard and I deserve a company that works hard for me. Mega, they saved me time and money. They got the coverage I needed at the price I could afford.
Mega has been America's solution for affordable health insurance for over 20 years. To get a plan that's tailored to fit your needs, call the number on the screen right now.
Do what we did. Call today.
Tammy Faye, gravely ill with inoperable cancer. Larry King exclusive, Thursday.
Wait on the world to change, Sean Mayer. Well, welcome back to our countdown to next Monday's CNN YouTube presidential debate. We're going to be showing you some of the most interesting and provocative questions that people want the Democratic candidates to answer. Republicans will get their turn a little bit later. But there's a striking trend in the questions about Iraq. It seems, at least with many of these, a U.S. pullout is a given. People want to know, though, what is next. So with us again, CNN senior political analyst Bill Schneider, as well as CNN's senior political correspondent Candy Crowley. Once again, thanks to both of you for being with us. And this is the unique change that we've seen the debate change. In fact, now it's not a question from any of the Democratic candidates that they all want to leave Iraq. What happens next seems to be the question.
That's right. Yeah, and there are real questions about that, namely, how are they going to do it? Is it going to be done with a deadline? Do they want to vote to reauthorize the war, to take away the vote of 2002? There are lots of different proposals for doing this. They're all on the table, but there's a universal agreement among Democrats running for president, and I should add, among Democrats across the country. The war has got to end.
And right now it's a timing issue. Let's listen to one of the questions about what happens after U.S. troops leave.
Hello, my name is Doug Bradshaw. My son is a new U.S. Marine. He joined just last January. He's currently finishing his MOS training in Missouri. Here's my question about Iraq. With most of you calling for a drastic reduction in U.S. troop strength, please tell me what specific steps you will take in order to ensure Middle East stability so that my son will not have to go back.
There you have it. And once again, we talk about the human element here. It's a guy saying, I don't want to have to send my son back.
Right. And what's interesting about this is part of the Republican argument for giving the surge a chance, for getting stability in the country, at least in Baghdad, before pulling out, has been, if we don't, it will be chaos. The Middle East will be in turmoil, and we'll have to go back. So the questions that we've had about Iraq seem to me to be going right to that. So it says to me that that argument has had some resonance out there.
And it's interesting because you talk about a Republican argument having resonance. Here's another example of that. Let's listen to the comparisons between Iraq, what we're fighting now, and World War II.
Republicans sometimes compare Iraq to World War II. However, during World War II, Americans were asked to recycle, carpool, were issued ration cards, and bought war bonds. As of today, President Bush has asked us to go shopping and to accept a tax cut. If you were president, what would you ask the American people to sacrifice?
I think I know the answer the Democrats are likely to give.
What, we're talking about raising taxes, right?
No, well, what they're going to say, they're going to be very cautious about this. They're going to talk about President Bush's tax cuts for the wealthy, for people who are high income earners. They're going to say their taxes were cut more than other people's were cut, and therefore they're the ones who should pay first for the cost, not just of going to war, but of getting out of Iraq.
But they were paying more taxes, which is why they were the recipients of the tax cut. But that's neither here nor there. Are they going to talk about and answer a straight question, Candy, about whether or not they're going to vote for a tax increase?
I think that they won't call it a tax increase. You know, in Washington, it's all about, you know, the nomenclature. What do you call this? They won't call it a tax increase. They'll say, you know, look, all we're doing is letting the tax cuts expire. Nonetheless, I mean, I think that again, that's something that people can see through, certainly something that others will call them to the forefront to and say, listen here, you've got to actually answer this question. It's a tax hike.
And after all, the administration is asking future generations to pay for this war. That's what increasing the deficit means.
That's true as well. Let's get this question in. We have a number of policy-related questions, but we also have some about more humanitarian things. And here are, let's listen to one first, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this one.
Hi, this is the Chi Man in Arizona with my question for the Democratic candidates. Over the past few years, the Democratic Party has stated that they would like to bring our troops home from Iraq. Now, doing so would create a power vacuum in that country, enabling the civil war to get completely out of hand. Since it was our initiative that went into that country and removed Saddam Hussein, what can we do as a country, should we pull our troops out, to safeguard the innocents that have to remain there?
You know, so they're asking about the innocents here, and there actually were a lot of questions about Darfur and our commitment to helping AIDS in Africa as well. It seems that a lot of the YouTube questions are about these humanitarian concerns, Candy.
You know, what's interesting, I think from global warming to Darfur to the AIDS crisis in Africa, people are saying, what can we do? I mean, this is hit it out of the ballpark for politicians if they'll just seize on it, because a number of these questions are about, not just about what will you do for us, but, you know, what are you going to ask us to do? How are you going to lead on this? And, you know, with Darfur, I think, you know, we talked about this before coming on. It is interesting how often Darfur comes up on the campaign trail. At one point, usually on college campuses, Barack Obama was asked about Darfur so many times that when one of the questions came up, the last one, he said, I've already answered that question. So it's definitely out there.
These are younger people who are participants in YouTube. They're better educated, and they often have a keen moral sense, and they're able to think about and know about events that are far away, like Darfur, and perhaps distant in the future, like global warming. Those sorts of concerns are very keen to these voters.
And it's also interesting how the internet has helped bring the world closer to our eyes. I mean, there is actually a website you can go on and see villages that are being wiped out in Darfur because of the genocide. So it is definitely a change in our level of consciousness about these things as well. Bill Schneider as well as Candy Crowley, thank you. Great insight as always.
No matter what your favorite topic is, how do you turn it into a really hard-hitting question? Next in our debate preview, the best way to get an honest answer. Plus, how the candidates will handle questions that they would rather not touch.
Smaller and lighter, with high-speed internet, a 2-megapixel camera, and email in over 130 countries. It has the intelligence you require, with the beauty you desire. The all-new BlackBerry Curve, only from AT&T, the world's leading provider of BlackBerry service. Singular's name is now AT&T.
Why would we build an SUV with magnesium paddle shifters and a 30-gig music and navigation system?
This is your vacation house?
Because Mitsubishi Outlander. Out everything, everything.
Dreams are powerful. Just because we're retiring doesn't mean our dreams have to.
That's why Ameriprise Financial created the Dream Book. Before we talk about numbers, we want to know your dreams.
Call 1-800-509-4799 now
For your free Dream Book. Then let an Ameriprise financial advisor work with you, one-to-one, face-to-face, to develop a financial plan to help get you there. Because the best book on retirement is the one you'll write.
Life changes. So should your insurance. That's why you need Trusted Choice. Independent insurance agents who help you get the protection you want along the way. With personalized policies from a choice of companies.
The Trusted Choice agent in your community works with you, so you can choose the insurance that fits your life, no matter how it changes.
To find a Trusted Choice agent near you, visit trustedchoice.com.
We know why we're here. To build a new generation of airplanes to connect the world.
Airplanes that fly cleaner and farther on less fuel.
And make non-stop travel possible to more places.
Around the globe, the people of Boeing are working together to bring us together.
That's why we're here.
Closed captioning hours provided by Capsaicin. Fast-lasting relief make pain powerless.
Arthritis pain's awful.
Capsaicin works differently, blocking pain for fast-lasting relief. Capsaicin Cream and new No Mess Applicator.
Takes the pain out of arthritis.
The issue of outsourcing, one question that the Democratic presidential candidates could face a week from tonight in our CNN YouTube debate. YouTube users have already posted more than 1,000 questions, and all this week we're counting down to the debate. We don't know yet which questions will be used in the debate. There's a chance that some that you see tonight will end up there, a chance that they won't. But right now we're going to take a look at what makes a really good debate question and what kinds of questions the candidates just really don't want to face. Joining us now is former CBS News anchor Dan Rather, who's now the global correspondent for HDNet. Steve McMahon, who prepped Democratic presidential candidate Howard Dean for his debates in 2004, and Republican strategist Amy Holmes. Welcome all. Dan, you've handled one of these debates before. What is it that makes the great debate question?
The question the candidate doesn't expect. The unexpected question is the best kind of question. Second to that is the tough follow-up, which we see all too little of, including my own work. But any question the candidate doesn't expect. A good example, Bernie Shaw of CNN, when he asked Michael Dukakis in the debate in 1988, Dukakis was anti the death penalty. Tell us what you would do if your own wife were raped. It's a paraphrase, but any unexpected question. And candidates do hate, genuinely hate, audience participation because they like to control the environment. And anytime people they haven't seen before are up on their feet, or for that matter, sitting down and asking a question, they get the shivers. A
lot of times in the town halls that we've seen in the past, if the questions aren't screened, many of the people are already pre-screened. They know that there's a fairly predictable audience there. But this is so unpredictable because these questions are coming in from across the country. Let's take a look at one of them right now.
Greetings, and thank you and YouTube for this historic opportunity to participate in the presidential debates. I know it must be difficult being a politician since many Americans do not trust those in your profession. My question to each of you is, why does this distrust exist and why are you different? Thank you.
So, Amy Holmes, there is a question that comes from a very personal perspective. What are the questions that these candidates hate to answer?
Well, they don't like the unexpected question, and oftentimes it's not the journalist question they don't want, it is the actual voter. Having to face that voter face to face, get that personal context, that personal question, and they can't slide by it when that voter is asking them directly, what are you going to do for me?
Right, so here is a voter who's saying, we don't trust you. Tell us why we don't trust you.
Sure, and that's a tough question to ask. It's the same we saw it in the Democratic debate. Tell us, what is one of your weaknesses? You know, it's one of those sort of interview questions that people try to do the SAT answer to, but really the vote